Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. As I always say, wherever you are watching from, because we note that it depends on where the sun shines on you as the earth spins, right? Because we have people listening from as far as Australia, Switzerland. We have people in the other places in the Caribbean besides Jamaica, and naturally so in the United States. And we have people from Canada, Russia, Cayman, Brazil, Denmark. Basically, what happened is that when we look at the data, we realize that persons have been listening from these locations. Keep it going. I would like to say welcome to you all as you listen to Canute Exploration. I am Dr. Canute White, and those persons on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, welcome to you. I I have a very important guest with me today, and I'm going to invite her into the studio and ask her a few questions. She's going to be talking about uh, a lot of things, her experience as a child, and she's going to be telling you about her company. And she wears so many caps, right? And we are going to be talking to her about some of those caps that she wears, right? Different colors, different sizes, right? Well, let's hear about it. Hey, Natassia, right.
Hello.
Welcome to Canute Exploration. Your topic in a podcast. It's nice to have you here with me this afternoon, this evening, this morning. Depends on where my audience are at this time, right? But I want to find out who is Natassia Wright.
Wow, that's such a question to start out, to start off with. Well, before I continue, I just want to tell you thank you so much for extending such an invitation to me to be a part of this amazing podcast that you have going on that is getting traction from all over the globe. Isn't that awesome? We're
Thank
able
you.
to just squeeze the world in a little bit tighter to reach all these different areas. Now, who is Natassia Wright? Well, I am a fun-loving introvert that works in an extrovert field. I am a recruiter. I am a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur. I am a United Nations ambassador and also a co-founder of a company called Mind Food International. But if you were to put me in one word, I would prefer the word inspiration. And
Oh,
I endeavor to remain that.
I love that. But how do you blend? It's ironical. Introvert, extrovert in an extroverted world. Or you do that. What happened?
Yeah, I get that question all the time, but it is actually something that is quite common. So
Mhm.
my natural style of just doing life is to be tucked away somewhere, listening to music, watching something, probably writing, reading. However, because of the sphere that I'm in, I find myself in rooms with hundreds, thousands of people speaking. I'm always conversing with people as a HR consultant. I'm always in the field working with teams, working with individuals. But what it means is that after I'm through working with so many persons, I
Yeah.
have to get my time to charge and refuel to come again. And that's pretty much what it is. I can function in both, but my natural style is to get that, downtime to just
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah. As you talk about downtime to relax after everything, they talk about the second shift. You have to go home and be a mother and a wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, well, the second shift, but you are an extraordinary person, and I'm sure you get that done. You balance the thing, right?
Have to.
Um, let's talk about you in those caps. First, the recruiter for SMEs. Let's say a little about each cap.
Sure, sure. So I have been working in the HR field for a number of years. And it was actually earlier this year, someone came to me and said, Nas, you know a lot of people. You could actually start a recruitment agency. And I said to myself, no, I'm already doing so many different things. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
And it so happened that in that same day, someone else came to me and said, I'm looking for a job. I know you know people. Please help me out.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and then I threw it out to a few of my colleagues who are entrepreneurs and CEOs, and the response was just overwhelming. So I did not know that people held me in such high regards to say that, well, Natassia, if you pass this person, I would gladly recruit them. And
Ah,
so I pretty much started the service based on feedback, and it has just been amazing. So the whole idea of being a rapid recruiter is that I'm able to fill even the highly technical positions within a 1 week span. That's always
oh,
my goal. Have
yeah.
to do all the research, everything, and get them the individuals who are ready for hiring within 7 days.
Yeah, I like that sort of thing. But I thought it was a United States. I'm reaching out to you from Miami, well, Miramar, Florida. And I thought it was a US thing, this recruiter thing. But I didn't know that it was so much happening in Jamaica.
It's a lot, and not just that, but that is an arm that my company is also working on, because we have individuals here in Jamaica who are looking to have work experience or gain work
Yeah.
experience there in first world countries. And
Mhm.
so that's I have a partner there in Florida, same
Okay,
Miramar
cool.
as well, that are actually looking to see how we can merge together to make that happen. So it
Yeah.
has different facets, but I'm definitely looking forward to the expansion.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and Canute Exploration will help to spread the word. All right, but look at this cap now. The UN ambassador. Talk to me about that cap.
Yeah, this is definitely something that is mega. It's huge,
Yeah.
because of the different community development that my husband and I are involved with.
Mhm.
And even as being Governor General awardees,
Okay.
we got that in 2019
Congrats.
for reaching out and just trying to make a difference. We were appointed as United Nations Ambassador, Peace Ambassador. Now
Hmm.
we are a part of the non-governmental organization, which is a consultative body. Now,
Yeah.
what that body does is it can consult with government through the United Nations on different socio-economical issues. And
Yeah.
so this is something that is quite extensive, but I'm always looking for the challenge and working with them on various projects.
Cool.
So this one is really huge, and I just don't. Sometimes I wonder how I even got
Yeah.
to this stage, but I'm just so grateful and humbled at the
Yeah.
same time.
I love that, and that is something I'm going to get into later on. Your spirituality and talk
Yeah,
about humility. All right. This other cap is the Diplomat NGO NR.
that's a
What's
part
that?
of
Yeah,
that's
figure.
the diplomatic NGO. That's all a part
Right.
of the United Nations. But let's go to the next one because you should have something
Right.
after.
Yeah. I have more caps here. I have more caps. All right. This one, government leadership consultant.
Yes. So as a consultant, I have the opportunity to work with whether government organizations or private sector organizations on leadership or HR, because again, HR is my core, but it's
Cool.
tied up and wrapped up in leadership. And what it means is that my team is able to go into different firms, look at your structure, look at what tweaks need to be undertaken? What kind of policies are you missing?
Yeah.
What is it that is needed to give you that extra oomph? We look at succession planning, we do trainings, um, the whole 9 yards, but the whole idea is to develop your leaders in such a way that they are able to not just
Yeah.
affect change in the organization, but the country, the whole world. That's
Cool.
what we're looking to do, create change agents.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a whole futuristic thing, right? Yeah. I love that. I love that. I'm going to look at your company later on in the interview, but this cap I want you to just touch on this, Cap, because we're going to be looking at it later on in detail. But co-founder of Mind Food International.
I actually love this because Dr. White, that was how we met. We met at the
Okay.
birthing stage of Mind Food International. So my husband and I actually founded this company about 8 years ago. And he literally just had an idea to send out some morning inspiration, which I objected to. But he ended up encouraging me, so I changed my mind and we did it. And since then, well, at that time we started getting such an amazing feedback that it turned into books, it turned into people inviting us to speak. Our very
Oh,
first speaking engagement was with Dr. White here, and trust me,
yeah.
we were there thinking to ourselves, why would people want us to come and speak anywhere? But we have grown so much. We are authors of 3 books. We're international speakers, leadership, HR consultants, you name it. We've come a far way, but this company is blazing trails and we're
Yeah.
excited.
We don't want to talk too much now
No,
about it. Wait
no, no.
until later. Wait until later. I am Dr. Canute White. You're listening to Canute Exploration, your topic in the podcast, reaching out to you from Miramar, Florida. And we're talking to Natassia Wright. She had said to me that she met me years ago. As she just told you guys at a speaking engagement, perhaps 8, 9 years ago, right? Right, cool. But tell me about your childhood, though. I'd like to go into that for a while.
Sure, no problem. So I was not born and raised in the upper echelons of society at
Yeah.
all. People see me all the time and they say, oh, well, she has life sweet. Everything is good with her. Not knowing the kind of past that I've been through. Um, I remember as early as the age 10, coming home to find my house burned flat to the ground,
Yeah.
wondering where we're gonna sleep, what we're gonna do. The whole house burnt down, and about 10 of us were displaced. Um, a few months after that, I came home and I was told that my father was shot and killed. I was just 10 years old, guys. And from that incident, I started experiencing depression in a very real way.
Yeah.
Because I was literally walking around just waiting for somebody to wake me up because I thought that I was dreaming. I said, this could not be real because my father was such a force on my life. By the time I got to age 16 in high school, I did well academically. In
Yeah.
high school, I was at Woolmer's High School for Girls, and a particular Saturday, my mother was having an asthma attack, so she went to the hospital to get nebulized, and she never came home. She died from that asthma attack. And so life was very dark for me. That weekend that my mother passed away was so rough. The Monday morning, I actually had CXC exams to sit, and Dr. White can attest that CXC is so critical to any child's education in the Caribbean. And I had just lost my mom, but I decided I was gonna fight. I was gonna go and do the exams regardless. I went and I ended up getting all those subjects. I don't know how with that kind of pressure. I had a grandmother who was living in the States, and which is my mother's mom. And after my mother died, she came home to settle permanently. And 1 year after my mother died, that grandmother died from cancer. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Molestation, seeing poverty, seeing gang violence, just worrying about what my future was going to be. That was my life in a nutshell. And so when people will say, boy, you probably had an easy life, I like to tell them my story and say, absolutely not. I'm coming from the trenches. And I want to be that representation for youths who are coming up in trenches and think that it is not possible for them.
Yeah. I love that, Natasha. I grew up in the inner city. I've had a very terrible childhood as well. but no, I have gone through, I have 3 masters, I have a doctorate, so I mean, it can happen. And you know that you have been there, and it happens through you as well, as me. So, listeners who are down there, the Dr. White and the Natasha,
Yes,
yeah, you can make it. All right.
of
Yeah.
course.
And saying that, Natasha, what is the inspirational message or messages from your childhood?
That you don't have to become a product of where you're raised. I mean, yes, it makes you resilient. Yes, it makes you make bread out of stone, but at the same time, you can become anything you want to be. And the whole idea is to be resilient enough and to be forward thinking enough and do the necessary actions that are required for you to get to that place that you want to be. And so I like to share those messages and just understand that people's words, they may hurt, but you don't have to accept them. You don't have to accept people's self-limiting beliefs about you. You call the shots. It is you who is going to make that mark and blaze that trail. So you just have to be confident and just keep working and never stop dreaming. I'm a dreamer. I never stop dreaming. And I married a dreamer. My daughter is a dreamer. We are all about dreaming those big, ridiculous goals. We're all about that. So those are my 2 cents on, the messages of my upbringing. Things that are hard are going to come. You're going to go through pain and brokenness and heartache. But just know that those things too are beautiful once you know how to process them. You don't have to become bitter, but you can actually become fine wine instead of vinegar because it's all in the process.
I love it. I love it. And dreams are important. And I always say as well, education is important because that's the only thing I think we will die with. That's the only thing we'll not leave on the will. I cannot leave my doctorate and my master's on the will and say, hey, take it, right? I go with it. That's the only thing that really belongs to us, I think. That's my view, right? But Natasha, this thing about motivation, right? What have you learned from your parents that kept you motivated, that, actually keep you going?
I love that question. My father was so strict on me, although I only knew him for 10 years of my life. He was so strict. Like if he came to school and he, got my report or whatever, he'd be like, why are there so many B's and not A's? I think that left something with me intrinsically. It wanted me to not just strive for a B or a pass. It wanted me to excel. He left excellence with me. And on my mother's side, she taught me all the spiritual aspects there was to this whole motivation. So yes, I'm going to teach you about speaking positive things over your life, but what are the exact words? What are you saying? And she taught me as well to have faith and where my faith should be. Who is my source? And so motivation is not just about just hearing somebody say some nice things and you get fired up. No, you have to be solid in your faith and know that come hell or high water, God is with me and I am going to make it. So they taught me different ends of the spectrum, but nonetheless, I think they have both merged and become a perfect blend, right, of how to keep going. Because sometimes I don't know how I became so resilient. There's just something in me that will not stop. And I think my mother and my father definitely had a hand in that.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. And I'd like to talk about your spirituality as you touch that.
Yes.
Share your spirituality with us.
My mom, she was such a strong woman. I like to say strong, but I think Dr. White will understand what I mean. She was not an easy woman. She was roughneck, and I saw that woman change completely when she gave her life to Christ. I saw her, become soft-spoken. I saw her not cursing, not just completely different, and that left something with me because I got baptized at the age of 13 years old.
Okay. Cool.
So there were a lot of things that I learned from her. And even after I had gone through all the different tragedies, I gave up on God because I said, clearly,
Yeah.
God is not for me because I went through so many different things.
Yeah.
There were things that my mother taught me that I was still doing.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
taught me, like, for example, if I was going to get up and I was going to go to a job, I should decree that the job is mine or pray that, and I was doing those things, although I said, God, I'm not coming to church. I'm not doing these things anymore because you are not for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
However, I never left it. And I remember at one morning I had a dream and a voice spoke to me audibly. A voice spoke to me audibly and said, "You are my vessel." And I woke up out of that dream. And Dr. White, I can tell you from that day, I have never been the same. I've never been the same because it was almost as if in that moment I was just being called to come and run with my assignment, which is pretty much what I do today. Speaking to the young people, speaking to people all over the world about just knowing that we have a source and we can be different individuals once we are connected to that source. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, cool. I love that. I love that. I know that your parents had motivated you, and your spirituality. But besides that, beside your parents, besides your spirituality, what are the other motivating factors, right? That you have used to keep going.
Yeah, and I like that question. Like I said, I was always a big dreamer. Like,
Yeah.
um, I was always that kid who was at home looking into space, thinking about all these wonderful things that I was gonna do when I got older and where I was gonna travel to, and who I would meet, and I think that visualization is something that has stuck with me. When we hear from these world-renowned athletes, for example, like Shelley and Fraser Price, who is from
Yeah.
Jamaica and she does so well, she said that when she went to the movies and they would play Jamaica's national anthem, she would close her eyes and envision that they were playing that in the stadium and she was receiving her
Oh,
gold medal. And we know that was many years ago, and right now she is one of the most decorated female athletes in track and field. And so visualization is super important. I do that even now. And you're not being what's the word? You're not being delusional.
yeah.
When you picture something and you hold on to it subconsciously, everything that needs to come into alignment to make that happen will start to. Another thing that I do is I read a lot. If there is a topic, mind you, I have graduated from actual books, if that's a graduation, to audiobooks. I don't know.
Oh,
I love the voice.
okay, cool.
I love the voice. My husband now, he is the reader. He has read
Yeah.
over 500 books. I will listen. I
Yeah.
will listen and do other things. I love to hear other people's point of view.
Right.
Um, and that keeps me going. That tells me that there are other perspectives. I don't have to stick to my guns and believe that there is nothing more. That has kept me motivated to understand that there are other ways of dealing with things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, other motivating factors. There are a lot. I surround myself with the right people, people who can encourage me, people who have knowledge and wisdom. And so they won't lead me down the wrong path. And when they make mistakes, they tell me so I don't have to find myself in those situations. And I could go on this actual one about other motivated things. But the
I
last
know,
thing
right?
I mention is that I want to make a difference
Yeah.
because I want to make a difference. I know that there are things that I will have to do, and I will have to walk the walk and not just talk the talk.
Yeah.
And so that keeps me going because my generations are going to be different. Every generation is going to come and do something even bolder. So
Oh
I
yeah.
have to set the example.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. You might have touched on this a little though, but how did your parents' death affect your academic achievement?
I don't think I touched on it much. I just said that
Okay.
I still did well. Um, When my father died, I was in depression, but that's the thing. I don't know. Maybe school was my coping mechanism. I still studied. I still passed. I still passed for a great high school, one of the best, I think. Um, and then after high school, I did pass all my exams, even though my mother died like in the middle of it. I don't know. I did well, still moved on to UTech and did my bachelor's. Um, and then I did masters. I started my master's with Mona School of Business. Ended up moving to elsewhere. So I know that education is important, as you said, Dr. White.
Yeah.
Education is so important. So
Mhm.
I know that they would want that for me. My mother would always stress that. And
Yeah.
so when she died, that's why I went to the exams because I kept remembering her telling me that she wanted me to pass
Yeah.
6 CXCs to go to sixth form.
Yeah.
And I am still trying to pass all my exams just because of her
Yeah.
words.
Important. You went to Ulmas, right?
Yes.
Big up Ulmas girls. I am a St. George's boy. I'm from North Street, the lighter side of
Awesome.
North Street. Yeah, but yeah,
I have
but
many
cool,
friends from George's.
cool. Right. What I'd like to find out from you though, I want you to describe that support system that you had during your childhood crisis.
Um, my relatives were around. Some of them get mad at me when I share my childhood experiences because they say that I don't include them. But the
Yeah.
idea is to share the downsides and then explain how the transformation happened. But I had relatives who were there to ensure that my school books are ready, ensure that I went to school, ensure my report cards were coming in. So it wasn't that I was not accountable to anyone. That was never the case. I always had somebody there encouraging me, finding out what's going on right now. Although they were not necessarily in my immediate presence, they were there. And
Mm,
so that was a major support system for me. Another thing is, although my parents had died, I had parents from other
yeah,
places,
no,
right?
right?
So whether it was that, they say it takes a village to raise a child, I would
Yeah,
always find a mother somewhere. So I would go to university and find a teacher that took on to me. I would, everywhere I went, when I started working my first job, I would find a mother there. So every step of the way, I think God has just blessed me with a lot of
yeah,
mothers and fathers, and
yeah,
they are good support systems. So even while I continue, trying to heal from all that has happened, I have those people who, are not afraid to reach out to say, you're doing well. You need to fix this, do that, all those different things.
yeah.
Mind you, having good support system does not nullify the effects of crisis in childhood. I have to
Oh yeah,
speak on because sometimes we think that children don't go through anything, and that's not true. Children have their own coping mechanisms. They're trying to process things just as adults, and sometimes it's unbearable for them. And so I just want to say that being there for them does not mean that they are not going through what they're going through, but it
yeah.
certainly helps.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm in psychology, as you might know, and I am sure that many persons do not think that a 3-year-old child can
It's
be stressed,
amazing.
can be depressed.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, but they can,
They can.
they can, yeah, they
And
can,
if they are able to articulate, they will tell you.
yeah,
They will tell you what they are feeling.
yeah.
And we're going through a pandemic now. It's not over. I don't think it's gonna be over anytime soon.
I
I
agree.
think as parents, we need to check in with our children. and ask them, how are you doing? My daughter hasn't seen her classmates in like 18 months. She does not like online schooling.
Yeah, yeah,
She doesn't want, she says she wants to quit school. And so
yeah,
I have to be finding ways to say, okay, how can she um socialize with other kids,
yeah.
because something, it's affecting her.
Yeah, yeah. Many children now are affected mentally, and I think I've read something that in Jamaica they need a lot of child psychologists because they
Mhm.
realize that the children are being neglected as it relates to mental health. But that's a
Yes.
different matter. I hope that is sorted out quickly. How do you argue though against the opinion, the perhaps general opinion that nothing good come from the ghetto? You and I are here, and we are good, quote unquote good, and we are from the inner city. I am from Denham Town, Waterhouse, that side.
And
West
I'm from
Kensington.
Almonte, so
Yeah,
we're not far from each other, right?
right, right,
We're
right.
in Kingston.
Argue against them. Argue for something good besides us can come
Besides
from the
us,
ghetto.
well,
Yeah,
I have many other individuals that I can point to that are leading in industries. They have died a long time ago and they are still leading, and they're coming from ghettos. And I'd like to pull on the infamous Bob Marley for that.
cool,
For
cool.
that one, Bob Marley's coming from Trenchtown. And listen, he has made a difference for not just our country, but a whole genre of music. And I think that he has made literally blazed a trail for everybody else to follow in the industry. And there's so many other individuals. I'd like to think though
Hmm.
that it is because we were forced to adapt to adverse circumstances that we have been able to succeed. So when you see that man coming from the ghetto and you say, oh, nothing good can come from him, there's a lot that he can do
Yeah,
that quote unquote someone coming from the upper echelons of
yeah,
society would not be able to face. These individuals are coming well rounded, street smart,
yeah, yeah,
right, with the book smart, and just have a greater appreciation and understanding of life. Even in the Bible they said, what good can come from Nazareth, when they
yeah.
point to Jesus to one of the disciples. And so I just want to say that sometimes it is the outliers that
Yeah.
actually come and make a serious difference. Malcolm Gladwell spoke about that. That
Mhm.
sometimes they say sometimes the ones that are not the underdogs, yes, sometimes the
Yeah,
underdogs actually have a major advantage over
yeah,
those giants. So I'd like to think so. Never judge a man because of where he's coming
yeah,
from.
definitely. And you had said something before about using, basically, you have said using education as a coping, it's as a coping skill. But I tell you this, I have used education to cope during my childhood crisis as well. And
Wow.
why I'm saying this is because perhaps the good from the ghetto came out of all of those crises. The
Yeah.
fact that we have to use education and some motivating factor, saying we will pull out of this and we strive to get that done, to pull out. So yeah, I like when you said that because I actually use that. That's my
Me
coping.
too.
Yeah. But that's cool though, so you have defended it. You're gonna like this question and the question that follow because I, I I realize you just celebrated your birthday, right?
Yes.
And you talked about chapter 33, right? I suspect that means that your women don't like to tell their age, but you have
Well, you just said it. I am 33.
but yeah. So you're 33, right? So I'd like to know how should we read um chapter 33? What's going on with chapter 33 at this point,
My
overall?
God, that's such a powerful question. It sounds as if you're here to reassure me. But I believe chapter 33 is Natassia learning how to deal with becoming the woman that she has dreamed to be. So we, a lot of times you sit and you say, I want to be that woman, I want to be a Michelle Obama, I want to be a Beyonce, I want to be a Rihanna or Oprah. But we don't oftentimes think about what it takes to get there.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so I'm now in a process of just understanding that the good comes with the bad. And, all the wonderful things come with burdens as well. And so I'm learning to balance and not to over process and not to overthink. So chapter 33 for me is becoming. Yes, I can use that word. Just
yeah,
becoming
yeah, yeah,
and accepting where I am, accepting my flaws and just working on them, and not focusing on them, but just working on them because I am a human being. I think because of social media and how you're perceived once you have a certain amount of followers and you're known, it becomes hard to be normal. And I struggle with that. I want to get up and go and just get out of the house in my husband's
yeah.
shorts and shirt, and he will look at me and be like, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to go get some food. And he's like, you cannot leave the house. He says, someone will see you. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
dressed okay, right? I'm just learning
yeah.
learning that, chapter 33 is about becoming,
Okay, fine.
accepting where I'm heading and just going
Yeah.
for it.
As you talk about becoming and accepting, I'm gonna be mischievous now because what happened is that we can talk if somebody asks, what are your positives? We're ready to talk,
Yes.
right? Strengths, positive strengths. We're ready to
Hmm.
talk. And,
Hmm.
and not only me, but many persons, I suspect you are included. But when you say, what are your weaknesses? What are your negatives? You have to be searching. What is
No,
it again? So I'm gonna ask you,
sure.
what are your strengths and weaknesses?
Sure. And it may be better I start with the weaknesses first because, if you do a lot of self-reflection or self-evaluation, you know what these are. I
Yeah.
think one of my number one weaknesses, I don't have any patience.
Okay.
Um, I work well with my CEOs that I work with at different organizations because they know how important time is. And I'm like that. I don't like to make a request for something and it's not. Even my husband gets upset sometimes. I was like, babe, can you just mop the floor for me because I'm busy? And he's like, okay, sure, I'll do it. And then in the next 10 minutes, I go get the broom and do it myself. And he's like, listen, I said I was going to do it. And I was like, yeah, but you have not moved. Patience is one. I am all about getting it done right now. And I get very annoyed when it's taking a lot of time. But don't judge me. God is working on me. The next one is I push very hard. I go very hard. And I haven't figured out that balance thing as yet. And so I find myself to be working more than I should, doing more than I should. And I have to be making mental notes that no, this should be family time. No, this should be your daughter's time or downtime, not typing emails. So yeah, that is also another thing, balance. And I'm gonna leave you with a third one. I will spend a whole lot of time working on people, helping people to work through their kinks. And I think it's a weakness because I don't know when to say that's enough. That person that person needs to go do their thing on their own. So I think that is a weakness. I will empathize, sympathize, and don't know when the cutoff point is. So I think that's a weakness. Strength, resilience. I said
Before
it.
you go to strength, why do you have all my weaknesses?
Because we're alike.
Okay, let
We're
me hear your
alike.
strength.
We are alike. And
Cool,
I'm
cool.
sure the strengths are gonna be looking like that too.
All right, let me see.
So for the strength, I'd say resilience. In our Jamaican colloquial term, we would say um, you're a hard man to dead. Like you're hard, you can't kill him. You can't kill him because I just keep going. Like no matter what the disappointment, the heartbreak, the stress, I'm going, going, going. And I don't know, I was just built that way, and I was just built that way. So I'd say resilience is one. Two, I'm very intuitive. I think that's a part of my introvertness there kicking in. I'm very intuitive. If I walk in a room, I more than likely can read everyone 90% by just watching their body language and listening to them speak. And so before something is said, I usually know what's going to come. And I think that's a good trait to have. Because, and especially where recruitment is concerned, after evaluating the person, I know if they're a good fit or not.
Yeah.
So intuitive is a big strength for me. The third strength is that I think I love people. I have a knack for working with people, making people feel special. And I guess that's why HR is my thing.
Yeah.
HR is my thing. I am a dreamer. Fourth, a visionary. I will sit and envision and then implement a plan to get there. And then I'm overall an honest, hardworking, straightforward. That straightforwardness as a strength can be a weakness because not
Yeah, I know,
everybody.
right?
You get into trouble, man.
Yeah, definitely. I tell you.
You get into a lot of trouble for being straightforward. But yeah,
Yeah.
I leave those with you, and I try to not just be like give you some surface level ones, but just some real ones that I pat myself on my back for.
Yeah, I am Dr. Canute White. You're listening to Canute's Exploration, your topic in a podcast. I'm talking to Natassia Wright. Natassia, the strengths are similar as well. I mean, I was just trying to find something to say. Hey, not that one, but yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, we are like with those strengths and weaknesses, and that's cool. But the next question follow up from the chapter 33. Um,
Mm.
there are several chapters that will come after that, but I'd like to skip many of them
Yes.
and go to chapter 43.
Oh, wow.
How should we read that though? Or will that be read by us?
If I could see into the future,
Yeah.
um, which I don't need to because I have faith,
Yeah.
so I can read it, right?
Cool.
Reading chapter 43 will be putting things into place for my daughter and a son. I'm hoping for a son. Can you
Oh,
imagine it?
okay.
10 years I want
Faith.
want a son. I'm hoping for my son. So
Okay.
I would be putting things in place for my daughter and my son's
Yeah.
kids to come,
Okay. Okay.
to make sure that they don't have to come and worry about having to find a job. If they want a job, they can have a job,
Yeah.
but they would already be set with many businesses and
Yeah.
different assignments stemming from
Cool.
what we have left for them. And just also passing the baton on, me working more closely with younger women,
Yeah.
sharing what I know, giving them all my mistakes so that they don't make those as well. So it's more like mentorship and raising the next generation to do better than I have. So I want to start as early as 43. I know a lot of persons are saying, but 43 is young. Yeah, I want to start early
Yeah.
so that they have enough time to go make their mistakes and fix them.
Yeah.
But I want to start before 50.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. I love that chapter.
Yeah, me too.
I love that chapter. Hey, and it seems as if you're looking at my questions, right? Because no, I know you weren't. I haven't seen them. But the next one talk about something you have mentioned in your 43. This thing about young Natasha. Those persons who are, you know, experiencing childhood that you had experienced. what would be your advice to them, that they don't make the mistake that you have not made a mistake, so to speak, but they won't make the mistake. So you're gonna talk to them, because if it weren't for the motivating factors from your parents, you might have had made some mistakes along the way. So talk to them.
Wow, very powerful question, a very serious one at that. If I could speak to my younger self right now, which I probably am, I would say chin up. Like how you start, what you're going through right now is not an indication of where you're going. It is not. As a matter of fact, this thing that you're going through can only strengthen you to become better in the future if you decide that you're going to continue a positive path. I would also advise you that hearing all the negatives around you does not mean that you won't get to a great future either. You don't have to look at your surroundings and say, boy, I'm going to end up like these people. No, because God has an assignment or a special purpose for each and every one of us. And sometimes our circumstances are hard because they are needed to just prune us in the right way, just to shape us and mold us in the right form in terms of our character. And so I just want to encourage you to ensure you have strong, positive friends around you. Ensure that the people that are around you, you want to become them or be like them. Because they say birds of a feather flock together. My mother used to kill me with that one. Or she'd say, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are. So you have to remember that there are a lot of people today that are in the jails, that are dead, that have lost marriages, lost their children, lost their life just because they were paired with the wrong people. I also want to tell you that you're not too young to have faith. Have faith in God that He's going to take you through this path and take you safely there. And also to have faith to achieve your dreams. I remember when I said I was going to go to university, people were saying to me, who's going to pay for that? You have no mother, no father, no. And I ended up getting a scholarship, guys. There are so many possibilities out there. But what is required of you right now is for you to make that decision and take the necessary steps. So I'd say keep pushing, keep your head up. If you've made a mistake, it's not the end of the world. Even if you're a young girl and you got pregnant early, it's not the end of the world. I have many friends who have had children young and they are doing excellent right now. And they are wonderful women with brilliant background in education. And so I'm saying just keep going, have faith and keep working. You'll get there.
Yeah. That's what's for the young Natasha, right?
Yeah.
But the inner city women, the ghetto girls, yeah. Well, as you know, I'm from Jamaica. You're from Jamaica, and we grew up in Jamaica. We know the challenges that these young ghetto girls. Trust me, they're beautiful. They're intelligent. We can tell the world that, yeah. But there are still some challenges, right? Talk to the ghetto girls, not necessarily the children now. The ghetto girls, 20 odd, 30 odd. Yeah? Talk to them.
I love how you put it, Dr. White. Listen to me, ladies. Nothing is as glorious as having dignity. I'm all about that. I'm all about being able to hold your head high. You don't have to succumb to peer pressure. You don't have to be with a man because you want money. There are other means. We have within us potential to do so many different things, but maybe no one has told you. Maybe nobody told you that you're excellent at cooking. You could cook and sell. Maybe nobody told you that, you're excellent at doing hair. You can make some money through that venture. You don't have to rely on someone who may be abusing you, who may not treat you like the queen that you are. I think you should hold your standards high. I see that a lot happening. They drop their standards because society tells them that they're not going to be able to find Mr. Right. Well, I found Mr. Right, so I believe everybody can find a Mr. Right.
I like that.
Okay. Yes. And so what you need to do is to work on yourself. It's never too late to go back to school. Never. It's never too late to find somebody to mentor you. Reach out to somebody positive. Ask them how they did it. Ask for the help you need. But do not, for heaven's sake, lower your standards because you are afraid or you think that you are too weak to do it alone. That's my tidbit because I've seen so many young women just die, just literally drop their hands and just die because they think that they need to be in a situation to be able to overcome. And society glorifies women who look a particular way now. And so I find that a lot of our young girls are trying so hard to look like what they see on TV or to wear what they see on TV. And I'm saying that a woman with dignity, even the Bible speaks about the Proverbs 31 wife, woman with dignity is always so eloquent, classy, beautiful. Keep your standards high. You don't have to look like anybody else. Just ensure that you are being modest and not lowering your standards.
Yeah. One of the things I'd like to ask you to address as a real woman, I would want to call you because there are some women who believe that hey, they will actually trade going back to school for the niceties, the dress. They would spend thousands of dollars on the dress and so on instead of taking a course or something like that. Address that.
Yeah, you said it earlier. You said that when we die with the education. That's something
Yeah,
we do for ourselves.
yeah,
And so if I could speak to that young lady right now to let her know that your education is compared to none, nothing, nada, zilch. Your experience, as a matter of fact, your experience and education paired together is what makes you a genius. Having a material thing cannot be compared to what's in here because what's in here is what is really important. And so I tell people all the time your circumstance can change, but as you grow and mature as a person, that's invaluable.
yeah.
Anybody can buy you something nice. Anybody can buy something nice and look the part. But when a woman opens her mouth, I think that is what silences people. That's what makes people intrigued. And so we need to look at wants and needs. Some things nice, yes, can stay. However, your education is so important. And then when we look at getting out of the cycle of poverty, education plays a great role in that. So your mother, you're saying that, boy, I wish I could just go and sell my degree to do something else. No, you have to do it because you want your daughter or your son to come and go to school as well. So we have to be the examples. And I find, like I said before, that our society now glorifies in having the nicer things and not necessarily having the education or, investing in ourselves. And that's not right because you can have the nice things and not know how to sustain them or how to keep them. Wouldn't it make sense to educate yourself so that if you lose them, you can gain them again? That's just my 2 cents.
That's cool. Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's one more question I have before I go into your business and
Yes.
close off. This thing about the glass ceiling. I I always said that the glass ceiling is still intact, not broken yet, but it's cracked. I always say that because indeed, as we know, women are getting more educated. They're challenging the masculine patriarchal society. But I really don't think that they have actually reached that stage where it's broken yet. It's been cracked, and that's my view. But why I'm saying all of this is to look at the Jamaican situation. Yes, we had this first female prime minister, the most honorable Portia Sims Miller. Good afternoon to you, ma'am. Good morning, whatever time you hear this. We love you. But we also realize that there is this new chief of staff sometime next year who's a female that's a first as well. I had served my country in the military. I understand the challenge as it relates to you know, head of the military, right? And now she's there. Hats off to you too, ma'am. We love you. You know, we appreciate that you got that position. But just to say that, and congratulations. But just to say that it's not broken. It's just cracked. What are you seeing happening in Jamaica at this point?
Well, Dr. White, this is the only time that I'm going to completely disagree with you
I know.
because as an HR consultant and as a woman myself and a
Yeah.
woman who works with a lot of successful women, I believe that the glass ceiling is null and void.
Okay.
Jamaica has one of the best percentages when it comes
Okay.
to gender equality in management and CEO positions. And I can name so many of them. If you look at our government from last year, September's election, saw so many women representing in politics. Our garden house is filled with beautiful women who represent us
Yeah.
well. And I say that to say that there are a lot of things happening here in our culture in Jamaica, and I do not think that we have an issue with glass ceiling and
Okay.
women. In fact, statistic is showing is that our men are in trouble because there are more women in university, more women graduating, more women in the workforce. Now it's going to be skewed, and the men are going to find themselves on the underside because of what is happening. So
Yeah.
I think we need to work a lot with encouraging our young men
Yeah.
and just equipping them so that they go back to school. But I know for a fact that in Jamaica we are doing exceptionally well. Now, in terms of my own views, I don't think of glass ceilings. I used to, I don't think of glass ceilings anymore.
Yeah.
And actually, Canute, and the reason for that, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm saying that it's not of my concern.
Right.
I work excellently. I make sure that I do my work with class, dedication, and I believe that all these things will work for me eventually. Now,
Yeah.
if I find myself in a position where a male counterpart is chosen over me, while there may be some bias involved, I don't get too much involved. I don't put that on my head
Yeah.
because I know what's mine is mine. It
Yeah.
cannot be taken from me. And so, but I really do believe that women are doing exceptionally well. Even when you look in the States, we have a VP, you have a VP
Yeah.
now, that's a woman,
Yeah.
African American, Jamaican descent, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're so excited too. It's almost as if it's happening for us.
Yeah.
So I think that that glass ceiling, even in your mind, if you think it's cracked, it's going to be shattered very, very
Yeah.
soon.
No, I believe that. No, and Natasha, I believe that because trust me, I believe in the strength of women. I love my women. You know,
Yes,
they're great people. I mean, you know, I am the reason why. You know, they're the reason why I'm here. I love that.
exactly.
So I really believe though that we need to work. Women, that's a responsibility of you women. Work on the men more in terms of
Yes,
you talk about it, getting them to do what they have to do, step up to the plate,
but
going back to school. Yeah,
we need more men too because I
yeah,
think that
no,
the men are having these issues because there's not enough men
yeah,
pulling them up.
yeah,
What's
I know.
happening? The men are not in the homes, and we know that a woman can be both mother and father.
Yeah, but you know, let me say this, Natasha. This is coming from far. You know, let's have a little talk on this because we know even back in our culture, the girl would stay in and watch the documentary. She'll read the book. The
Yeah.
boys are allowed to go on the basketball field and play and so on. And I started my education back in Jamaica, and I realized that in the university, sometimes I'm the only person doing that course as a male. I'm the only male doing that course. Can you imagine? So I
Yes.
realized that men are in trouble. From I saw that. I said,
When
hey,
you were
men
in
are in
school.
trouble. Yeah, because more men are in school, more men are going to become lawyers, doctors, teachers.
Yeah.
We're the men in the school system. Yeah?
You, far
Yeah,
and far
few.
few.
Psychologists. So we know that it's in trouble. So maybe you're right. It's not cropped. It's almost shattered. But I really do love my women and what they're doing. We think that they're really super extraordinary. And
Oh, yeah.
hats off to you, and the other women. Right? Definitely. You're listening to Can Youth Exploration, your topic in a podcast. I am Dr. Can Youth White, talking to Natassia Wright. Natassia, your business, Mind Food International.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
All right. So I think I mentioned earlier that we started literally by just sending morning inspirations. And from those morning inspirations, we were encouraged to do books, seminars. We did our first seminar in 2014, and it was called Giving Birth to Greatness. We didn't know that we were giving birth to our own greatness, because today we have done over 50 conferences, whether it's a leadership training seminar, and we have expanded to other countries. The last leadership seminar we had it there in Miramar, Florida. We had even the mayor of Miramar there with us, Mr. Wayne Messam. It was just exciting to have the diaspora leadership there representing and talking about the issues of our countries. And so we do leadership training, HR consultancy, myriads of things, but the core is leadership development.
Cool.
Where we intend to turn people into agents of change. So it's not just come to a training and you're gone, you get certified. That's it. No. You're here and you're going to make a difference. And so
Yeah.
every single thing that we do, whether it's a mentorship program, a coaching program, a succession plan, we take all those things into account. And it has been such an exciting journey because we didn't know we would end up here being awarded Governor General awardees for excellence in leadership, becoming United Nations ambassadors. We're international speakers. I can tell you that this year I have traveled so much.
Cool.
Even in the midst of the pandemic, I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I've
Love
traveled
that.
so much. And that's just because people see value. People
Yeah.
see value in what we're teaching. And
Yeah.
we're not just teaching the usual motivational stuff. We're teaching literally biblical principles paired into other leadership principles. So it works. But we're pretty much working in the diaspora with our fellow Jamaicans and just
Cool.
looking to partner with corporations that
Yeah.
need help to strengthen their leaders.
Right.
That's what Mind Food International does.
Yeah, we have to talk more on that outside of this. But tell me, I like when I talk about businesses to look at it from a journalistic question standpoint. The what you have mentioned, the what. Who are involved in this thing?
My husband and I, and we have, that's Mr. Jamar Wright, His Excellency Mr.
Hey,
Jamar
big up,
Wright.
Jamal. Cool.
And we also have business partners in Canada and
Right.
the United States of America. And we pretty much have a team of leaders who go out into the corporate arena and assist in any area. As a matter of fact, we work with churches, we
Yeah,
work
cool.
with clubs, we work with schools, we're everywhere.
Yeah.
But we're all literally work under this mission and vision that we're going to be the largest leadership institution in the next 20 years.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Where are you located? Yeah, I mean, is it just Jamaica? You talk about Canada and working with persons. The headquarters is in Jamaica. What? Tell us about the where.
Okay, so naturally the headquarters is here in Jamaica, but we have a global business, hence the
Right.
name Mind Food International.
Yeah.
And so we operate basically anywhere we are needed. We operate virtually if it is an event that we're invited to. We will travel. but we are here in Jamaica working with different countries.
Mm-hmm. So when is you never close 24/7, 24 hours. Talk
Pretty
to me
much,
about the when.
pretty much. We've set it up in such a way that people can reach us at any time for assistance or for services. And you can find all of that on www.mindfoodinternational.com.
Mhm.
And we made sure we left all our contact information on there. We are easy to find. As a matter of fact, my Instagram, which seems to be the go-to page, at Natassia Wright, I answer every single DM, every single message I possibly can, as hard as it is at times. So we are accessible to individuals who need us.
Okay, and you have a website.
Yes,
What's the
and it's
website? Those persons who are listening on their favorite podcast platform would like to hear.
It's www.mindfoodinternational.com. So you'd have to spell it out, MINDFOOD international.com.
And I must tell you that on the description of the podcast, I actually include these links so that you can
Yes.
click on the link once you're watching the podcast from anywhere around the world, and it will get you there. And but why Mind Food International?
Because we are the difference that is required. The
Yeah.
training is not the usual sit in a classroom setting and have someone speaking. It
Mhm.
is actually real life examples, whether it's from different materials, it is biblical principles, it is leadership concepts, cutting edge leadership concepts, all wrapped up in a different kind of packaging, something relatable, something palatable, something that is easy enough for a 12-year-old
I
old
love
to
that.
understand. But Dr. Canute White, with his three
Yeah,
masters and PhD,
yeah.
gets it. So we make it so simple that anyone can look at it and say that is something profound. And I
Love it.
think that is needed right now. The fluff is not something that people can deal with, especially with so much chaos going on. And so I think we have been able to find that perfect blend for individuals to be able to learn and really get it
Cool.
so they can run and live fulfilled lives.
I love it. That number you're looking at it running across the screen, but
Yes,
those persons want to hear we're just listening. Can you tell
sure.
us?
Yes, you can contact us at any time at 876-781-8614. That's 876-781-8614.
How about
And
email?
that is my personal contact. For
Oh, that's your
email,
personal contact.
yes.
Oh, they will get to you, but it's safe
It
to
is safe.
yeah, okay,
It is
fine.
safe.
Yeah.
There are ways to protect
Okay,
um
fine.
protect us.
I just want to know. Yeah, protected.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That is fine. That is my straight business line.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
Email us. You can email us at Carib Leaders. So it's CARIB Leaders at Mind Food International. If you think that's too long, then you can email me at nnkb@hotmail.com. That's triple NKB@hotmail.com.
Hey, Natassia Wright. You and Mr. Wright. Big up to you, sir. Right? I know you're very instrumental in what's going on. I'd just like to, say that I appreciate we here at Canute Exploration appreciate what you have been doing because I'm sure you do have some contribution that you have made to Natasha and her success. And I just want to, on behalf of Canute Exploration, say thanks for that and big you up. Right, Natasha, it's such a great pleasure talking with you. Another Jamaican daughter, another Jamaican woman doing well. I have read so much about you, and hence I reach out to you because I want the world to hear you and for empowerment. And again, chapter 33. Wish you all the best with that. And chapter 43, wish you all the best with that too. And
Yeah,
we can go on and on and on and on and on.
I
Right?
know.
Right. But I will talk to you again, and thanks for coming. All right.
Thank you for having me. Just a wonderful, wonderful discussion. It feels like home.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
We definitely need more content like what you are putting out. So just keep going, man. Excellent.
Thank you, Natasha. All right. Bye-bye. Yes, that was Natassia Wright out of Jamaica. She tell you it like it is. She had a story to tell, and she tell us what had gone on in her childhood, and she empower women and youths as well. Because not only because Natasha is a female, means that you as a man, you as a boy in the inner city, cannot take from her some of the advice that she had given, and that's that Natasha, that strength, that empowerment, right? We can all pull from that. And I want you to contact Natasha as much as you can because she's ready to listen. You can call her at 876-781-8614. That's her business, Mind Food International. You can also email her, right? The short email that she give, email address that she give, nnkb@mail.com. You can use that one. And if you're watching, you will see it running across the screen that carry leaders at mindfoodinternational.com, another email address. Keep in touch with Natasha. She's a wonderful person. Her husband and her, they have been doing well to ensure that great leadership continue to survive in our society, and that the leadership of tomorrow will be one that will drive the society forward, even after many of us have gone. Thanks to Natasha and her husband, our team. It's nice talking with her. But we are still in a pandemic. Remember, wash your hands, keep the hygiene thing going. I always say the mask, take your vaccine. I'm not forcing you to do that. I'm encouraging you. I had done my Pfizer and I'm encouraging you to do it. And also keep your distance. I'll catch you again on Can Youth Exploration, your topic in a podcast. I am Dr.